Welcome back to our chilling series exploring the haunted corners of the Sunshine State, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this fifth installment of Most Haunted Places in Florida, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering tales so spine-tingling they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From eerie lighthouses perched on desolate shores to grand hotels cloaked in tragedy, Florida is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in love, loss, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. Florida's haunted places are more than just locations. They're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time: pirate raids along the coastlines, Civil War skirmishes on forgotten battlefields, unsolved murders in secluded swamps, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted locales across Florida, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted hotels, explore eerie mansions cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of Florida, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Don Cesar Hotel, a phantom paradise perched along the pristine shores of St. Pete Beach, the iconic pink facade of the Don Cesar Hotel has long been a symbol of luxury and leisure in Florida. Known affectionately as the Pink Palace, this opulent resort opened its doors in 1928 during the Roaring Twenties, attracting celebrities, politicians, and socialites eager to bask in its Mediterranean revival splendor. With its sweeping ocean views, gilded chandeliers, and lush gardens, the Don Cesar exudes timeless elegance. Yet beneath its polished exterior lies a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, tragedy, and the lingering presence of restless spirits. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Don Cesar revolves around room 411, said to be haunted by the spirit of a jilted bride named Sarah. According to local lore, Sarah traveled to the hotel in the 1930s to meet her fiancé, only to discover he had abandoned her for another woman. Overcome with despair, she took her own life in the room, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow that continues to haunt visitors today. Guests staying in room 411 frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of roses lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be none other than Al Capone, the infamous gangster who reportedly used the Don Cesar as a hideaway during Prohibition. Paranormal investigators exploring the property have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male entity whispering phrases like, "Keep quiet," and "They're watching." Witnesses describe seeing a shadowy figure resembling Capone pacing anxiously near windows, clutching what appears to be a cigar before vanishing without a trace. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Don Cesar frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty fisherman's outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Don Cesar remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Sarah, Al Capone, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the hotel's tragic tale, the Biltmore Hotel. Glamour undermined by ghosts nestled in the vibrant city of Coral Gables, the Biltmore Hotel stands as a monument to both luxury and despair. A grand architectural masterpiece whose opulent facade conceals decades of tragedy and supernatural activity. Opened in 1926 during the height of Miami's land boom, the hotel quickly became a retreat for the wealthy elite, including luminaries like Winston Churchill, Judy Garland, and even mobsters like Meyer Lansky. With its towering bell tower, ornate ballrooms, and sprawling swimming pool, the Biltmore epitomized elegance and sophistication. Yet beneath its polished veneer lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, violence, and untimely deaths. One of the most pervasive legends tied to the Biltmore Hotel revolves around the tragic death of Thomas Walsh, a young construction worker who fell to his demise during the hotel's construction. According to local lore, Walsh's spirit never left the premises, instead choosing to haunt the very structure he helped build. Guests and staff alike report seeing a shadowy figure clad in workman's attire wandering the upper floors, his form dissolving into mist when approached. Others describe hearing faint hammering sounds emanating from empty rooms, as though Walsh continues to labor in the afterlife. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be none other than mobster Al Capone, who allegedly used the Biltmore as a base of operations during his frequent visits to South Florida. Though Capone was known for his discretion, whispers abound that he conducted illicit dealings within the hotel's walls. Visitors recount sightings of a tall, imposing man clad in a pinstripe suit, pacing anxiously near the lobby or sitting alone in the bar. His presence is often accompanied by the faint clinking of glasses and the smell of bourbon, as though he's preparing for one last business meeting. Some speculate that Capone lingers due to unfinished business, unable to part ways with the empire he built. The Biltmore's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a janitor who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the hotel's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into the Biltmore's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the third-floor hallway and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Biltmore Hotel continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the opportunity to encounter Thomas Walsh, Al Capone, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the Biltmore promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. The Castillo de San Marcos, shadows of conquest and conflict perched along the historic streets of St. Augustine. The Castillo de San Marcos stands as a testament to resilience and struggle, a formidable fortress built in the late 17th century to defend Spanish Florida against rival European powers. Constructed from coquina stone, a unique sedimentary rock composed of crushed shells, the Castillo has endured centuries of battles, sieges, and occupations. Today, it serves as a national monument and a reminder of America's colonial past. Yet beneath its sturdy walls and cannon-lined bastions lies a darker narrative, one steeped in bloodshed, imprisonment, and the lingering presence of those who met violent ends within its confines. One of the most persistent legends tied to the Castillo involves the Dungeon of Despair, a small, windowless chamber located deep within the fort's bowels. Historical records indicate that this room was used to hold prisoners of war, rebels, and criminals under conditions so inhumane that many did not survive their captivity. Shackled to the walls, they endured days, or weeks, of starvation, beatings, and isolation. Decades later, visitors exploring the Castillo report hearing faint moans and rattling chains emanating from the sealed-off chamber. Some claim to see shadowy figures huddled in the corners, their faces obscured by darkness, while others described feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approached the door. Another haunting figure associated with the Castillo is believed to be Maria Alvarez, the wife of a Spanish soldier stationed at the fort in the early 18th century. According to local lore, Maria discovered her husband's infidelity and confronted him in a fit of rage, only to be pushed down a flight of stairs and killed instantly. Her ghost is said to wander the second-floor landing, her ethereal form clad in a tattered white gown. Guests touring the fort have reported waking up to the sound of footsteps descending the stairs, followed by a deafening crash, as though someone has fallen again. Others describe seeing a pale woman staring mournfully out of upstairs windows, her expression frozen in eternal anguish. The Castillo's grounds, once patrolled by soldiers and artillerymen, remain a focal point of paranormal activity. Visitors walking through the overgrown acres often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out in languages unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the dialects spoken by those who defended, or attacked, the fort centuries ago. Others report seeing apparitions of men in period uniforms, their faces gaunt and weary, standing guard even in death. Paranormal investigators exploring the Castillo de San Marcos have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the dungeon and the main courtyard. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the Dungeon of Despair, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the fort's reputation as one of Florida's most active haunted sites. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, the Castillo de San Marcos continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the atrocities committed in pursuit of power and control. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, the Castillo offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Green Lady Swamp whispers among the cypress trees deep in the heart of Florida's Everglades, shrouded by towering cypress trees and suffocating humidity, lies the Green Lady Swamp, a mysterious expanse of marshland steeped in legend and fear. This remote wetland earned its name from the ghostly figure said to haunt its waters, a spectral woman cloaked in green light, her ethereal form drifting silently among the mangroves. Locals speak of her in hushed tones, warning travelers to avoid the swamp at all costs. Yet for those brave enough to venture into its murky depths, the Green Lady offers a haunting glimpse into the darker side of Florida's natural beauty. One of the most persistent legends tied to the Green Lady Swamp centers around a young woman named Emily Carter, whose story has become synonymous with the swamp's haunted reputation. According to folklore, Emily fell deeply in love with a local fisherman named Jacob during the early 1900s. When Jacob disappeared under mysterious circumstances while fishing in the swamp, Emily was overcome with grief and wandered into the marshlands in search of him. She was never seen again, but locals claim her spirit returned to the swamp, forever searching for her lost love. Visitors report seeing a glowing green figure gliding across the water, her translucent form illuminated by moonlight. Some claim to hear faint sobs carried by the wind, accompanied by the gentle splash of water rippling against the banks. The swamp is also home to countless tales of tragedy and misfortune that have unfolded within its confines over the centuries. Records show that several individuals disappeared without a trace while traversing the treacherous terrain, presumed victims of quicksand, alligators, or hostile Native American tribes. Modern-day explorers recount eerie encounters along the waterways, including sudden drops in temperature and the sensation of being watched. Some claim to see shadowy figures pacing restlessly near the edges, their forms dissolving into mist when approached. Others report feeling an inexplicable urge to follow the glow of the Green Lady deeper into the swamp, as though compelled by an unseen force. Adding to the swamp's haunted allure are the countless wildlife and plant species that call it home. Many believe residual energy from ancient rituals and ceremonies performed by indigenous tribes remains trapped within the dense foliage, manifesting as phantom sounds of drums beating and chants echoing through the trees. At night, when the swamp is bathed in moonlight, some visitors swear they can hear the distant rustle of leaves and the low murmur of conversation, as though a procession from another era continues to traverse the waters. Paranormal investigators exploring the Green Lady Swamp have captured compelling evidence of its supernatural activity. Thermal cameras reveal cold spots concentrated near the center of the swamp, where many of the tragedies unfolded. Audio recordings pick up fragmented phrases like "help me" and "don't let go," delivered in tones of sheer desperation. One particularly unsettling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless at the edge of the water before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Green Lady Swamp remains a popular destination for adventurers and thrill-seekers alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and exploration. For those brave enough to venture onto the waterways after dark, the promise of encountering Emily Carter or one of the countless other spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps into the swamp, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past, or will they become another chapter in the swamp's macabre legacy? The St. Augustine Lighthouse, beacons of the damned perched atop Anastasia Island, overlooking the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. The St. Augustine Lighthouse stands as a sentinel of maritime history and tragedy. Built in 1874 to guide sailors safely through treacherous waters, the lighthouse has witnessed countless shipwrecks, storms, and untimely deaths. Its towering black and white spiral design and sweeping views of the coastline evoke a sense of awe, yet beneath its utilitarian facade lies a darker narrative, one steeped in sorrow, betrayal, and the lingering presence of those who met their end beneath its watchful gaze. One of the most pervasive legends tied to the St. Augustine Lighthouse involves the tragic deaths of 3 young girls who drowned near the site in the late 19th century. According to historical records, the daughters of the lighthouse keeper and a local contractor were playing near a railcar used to transport construction materials when it suddenly rolled downhill, plunging them into the sea below. Their bodies were never recovered, and their spirits are said to haunt the area to this day. Visitors report seeing shadowy figures of children playing near the base of the lighthouse, their laughter echoing through the salty breeze. Others describe hearing faint giggles emanating from empty rooms, as though the girls continued to frolic in the afterlife. Another haunting figure associated with the lighthouse is believed to be Joseph Andrew, the first official lighthouse keeper, who tragically fell to his death while painting the structure in 1859. According to local lore, Andrew's ghost still tends to his duties, ensuring the beacon remains lit for lost sailors. Tourists climbing the 219 spiraling steps to the top often feel an inexplicable chill as they ascend, accompanied by the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow staircase. Some claim to see a shadowy figure in period clothing standing at the lantern room, gazing out to sea as though scanning the horizon for ships in distress. The lighthouse grounds, once bustling with activity, have also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the property describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the keeper's quarters, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a tour guide who swore she saw a translucent woman dressed in Victorian-era mourning attire standing near the entrance, her face obscured by a veil. Theories abound that the woman may have been a grieving mother searching for her lost child, forever trapped in the confines of the lighthouse grounds. Modern-day investigations into the St. Augustine Lighthouse's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the lantern room and the keeper's quarters. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original occupants. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I didn't mean to," and "Come back." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the St. Augustine Lighthouse remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely exploration. For those brave enough to venture onto the grounds after dark, the opportunity to encounter Joseph Andrew, the lost girls, or one of the countless other spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the iron planks of the observation deck, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past? Or will they become another chapter in the lighthouse's macabre legacy? Patterns across Florida's haunted places, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of Florida. From the opulent halls of the Don Cesar Hotel to the somber grounds of the Castillo de San Marcos, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of sanatoriums to the shadowed basements of fortresses, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. As we bring this chilling journey through Florida's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Florida's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come.